Daily Wire says Senate Democrats asked the Ukraine to help them. What did? Yeah. So the Democrats asked the Ukrainians to give them some stuff that they thought might be. This thing is going to blow up in Joe Biden's face, and I had the kind of default position about Joe Biden, like he's a nice guy, he's a hardworking guy, he's a man of the people, but he's not I don't like him. And then I saw him in the debate with Paul Ryan, and I just wanted to rip his eyes out. He's not a good guy. And Victor Davis Hanson, if you haven't read it, did an article on Biden as Buckaroo Banzai. And listening to Biden tell these tall tales about taking chains and beating up Donald Trump and beating up the tough kids in school and beating up these people, and I was there and I beat him up, and it's like, Joe, even if you're right and you're not, this is trying a little hard. He got into a fight with a black kid in school named Corn Pop. Go ahead. And even though Joe was outnumbered 5-1, he went down there with a chain. And when Corn Pop realized that Joe was a real man and wasn't seriously not afraid and was ready to fight, then Corn Pop decided that it was a kind of person that he needed to be friends with. And so Joe and Corn Pop turned into be great buddies, but only out of the mutual respect necessary from being willing to beat each other's ass. And Biden sounds a bit like he's trying a little bit too hard, Corn Pop. Possible. Unlikely, but possible. Yeah. So once the front runner, the Democratic Party machine guy, who's connected to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, all the rest, once that guy realized there was some chance of this investigation, which had been safely buried, suddenly coming back again, then the media swung into action and made this whole thing about Trump. And the reason that the Democrats are making this noise about impeachment, if I had to guess, I would say they're not going to take the vote because they know that will kill them in the fall. I think they're making a lot of noise now, and then in the fall, they're going to slowly let this thing die. And the reason they're making noise now is they want people to be talking about impeachment, not talking about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. But I think most people can realize this. It's pretty obvious. That's a good point, too. Kathy Ward says that they're saying that the impeachment of Trump would be that he's trying to get rid of a political rival, but Biden isn't a political rival. He's not. And furthermore, of all the people I would like to face, Biden is the one I'd like to face the most. If I had to pick somebody to run against, I'd take Biden for sure. I would take him. Because then you just have two old white men by the democratic system of morality and governance. And if you got two old white men, then why don't you pick the one who's successful, rich, funny, and sane? It's just a thought. So anyway, I think that's pretty much going to do it. We're at the 1 hour and 40-minute mark or so. And I think we pretty much beat this horse out to death. It's going to be a very interesting week. It's always an interesting week. But in any event, I think these guys have really, really, really made a big mistake. I hope so. I really am dying for a real kind of Lord of the Rings, Barad-dûr, come crashing down, tears in your eyes kind of thing. I really am. I know that life doesn't work that way, and that I'm raised on movies like everybody else, and so I expect this big dramatic payoff that just never happens in the real world. But my God, I would love to see these people in handcuffs being walked into the federal building, preparing for their upcoming trials in their orange jumpsuits. I'd really like to see that. I would very much like to see that. So anyway, if I didn't get you tonight, next week I'm sure we'll have open question. But I look down and I see Merlin says, Bill, I actually need an answer to my question. And I know Merlin, so Merlin, where is the question that you actually need an answer to? Is it in the Facebook stream? If you want to repost it there in the comment section, I'll wait for the little echo to go out and back again. But yeah, that sure would be nice. Martin, okay. Is it the Martin Archer issue? which I don't know about. I just see that is that what we're talking about? Let me see something that says, I know Martin's been having a bit of a rough time. Let's go see if there's something about there on the website. That's the same question next week. Okay, something's going on. Let me see what's going on here. This new website looks really good, Scotty. And I might point out that the thumbnails are just magnificent. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I the person that do the thumbnails? how silly of me. How could I have forgotten that? Blog. Foghorn. Oh, Foghorn's doing Star Citizen tutorials. That's awesome. I don't see it right now. Okay, please don't talk about you on YouTube. I don't understand how I'm going to answer this question publicly. Here it is. Here's the link. Hang on. Working on it. Okay, sorry about this. Hang on a second. Okay. I didn't read the whole thing, got the gist of it. I understand why you don't want to have this put on YouTube. So it's on the website, and I'm about to do, in fact, I need to remind myself, there's a similar person who wrote me, and I need to find that email, and it got lost during the trip. But under certain situations, it is a great pleasure to be able to help out in a situation like this. So, Martin, don't worry, I'm not going to say another word here. We'll talk some more. Contact me at info@billwhittle.com if you don't mind. And who is it that I need to find here? I almost dropped this thing. Here, there it is. Yeah, it's from September 21st. Okay. I will forward that to myself and make sure that idiot gets this thing. Nope. When I say this idiot, I'm referring to myself, obviously. Sometimes I'm reduced to this. Sometimes I have an email that I drop and forget. I get a lot of emails, and sometimes I have to re-email myself, which is what I just did. Okay, so thanks to the swell group of people in the Strato Lounger community. There was an issue that I wasn't aware of, and now I'm aware of it, and so on. So that's taken care of. I'll be looking forward to tomorrow. Martin, just send me an email, info@billwhittle.com. We'll chat some more. I got a pretty good idea what we can do, if anything. And it turns out that my friend Merlin's question. What's the difference between fascism and statism? I don't know. What's the difference between fascism and statism? Oh, it's a question. Well, undoubtedly you already have an answer. I made it. I just recorded the first episode of the Cold War podcast, and I said, look, you got two different. You got the Berlin Wall, and you got one group on the east. You got one group on the west. And the names have changed over time. Sometimes they've been run by Republicans, Democrats, back and forth, communists, socialists, so on and so on, so on and so on. And as far as I'm able to determine, the only thing I get that constantly works is individualists versus collectivists. That's the only thing I can find that transgresses all times throughout history, no matter what label, Republican, it's like they're individualists and they're collectivists. And individualism is a very, very, very new idea. It's less than 250 years old. Difference between fascism and statism. One is wearing Hugo Boss, says A.R. Cura, who's really knocking out these replies tonight. Merlin, it's a fairly complicated answer, but honestly, fascism is a subset of statism. I think that's about the pithiest I can put it. All fascists are statists, but not all statists are fascists. No, he says there is no difference. We agree. Yeah, one's a bigger circle. Fascism is part of statism, but statism is not necessarily part of fascism. You can have communist statists who are not fascists, but still statists, but you cannot have fascists that are not statists. Which, again, goes to I think definition is the best that there is. It's not my definition, I just think it's the most useful way to think about things. Collectivists and individualists. And I'm one of the individual guys. And so are all of you in rigid lockstep with this individualistic philosophy that you are required to believe in. Okay. That will do. Excellent. So I can go now. Been fun. It's disturbing to see these headlines, and it's not just disturbing, it is really, really enraging. But a little outrage is what makes elections turn. And I think these idiots have so far lost their mind that they do not realize how far in the weeds they are. And I just have no idea. Dave wanted to know when the podcast will be released. We'll certainly be putting out promos. I don't want to be, technically I'm really leaking it now. I suppose technically I'm in violation of an NDA, but I consider this to be promotion. It looks like it's going to start, I want to say first week in November, and then one a week for quite a while, 10 weeks, I think. So anyway, all right. So that'll do it for this edition of the Stratosphere Lounge. Normally at this point I say thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making this possible, so let's make sure we don't miss that. Thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making this possible. Usually I say, and honey, I know you're watching. I'm on my way home, but this time I'll say, honey, I know you're watching, and I'll be over at the couch in just a minute. See, I had a mystery guest the whole time, and what amazing discipline did I show? And the only reason I didn't say that she was here was because if I said she was here, then the whole show would be about Natasha again, as always, and I just, getting a little tired of hearing about Natasha, how wonderful she is on my freaking show. It's my show, not her show, my show. All right, I'm glad we got that clear. Let's just make sure that we never talk about this again.